Hello, my name is Brooke Becker and I am a dual degree student in the College of Pharmacy and Master of Public Health at UAMS. Today I will be discussing community-based participatory research and how it fits with the condom use promotion program we have been following throughout this semester. Following completion of this presentation, an understanding of both the condom promotion program and the principles of CBPR should be developed. We will also cover how well this specific program fits within the CBPR principles, which will be outlined. This will be done by discussing which principles fit well and which are not covered as well. The term community will be defined, and those who make up a specific community will also be discussed. Finally, the members of the community who make up the condom promotion program will be discussed as well. The condom use program was implemented in response to the high prevalence of HIV in the country of India. 2.5 million people within the country were infected with HIV at the start of the program, which is approximately 10% of all people living with HIV. Most of the people who are living with HIV in India live in one of 6 provinces, and their major modes of transmission are through sexual intercourse with sex workers and injectable drug use. The main objective of the program was to decrease the transmission of HIV through the increase of condom use amongst those identified to be at highest risk. Those at high risk were from certain towns within these 6 provinces. The program focused on men who engaged in heterosexual intercourse with sex workers within these towns. Education was provided largely using the interpersonal interactions such as street performances and group discussions. The program was considered to be a success due to a reported increase in condom use amongst the sampled group surveyed. Today, the number of HIV cases within India has decreased towards 2 million. Community-based participatory research is a method of evaluating data through a collaborative approach that aims to represent all those involved equally. This is done by assessing each of the individuals involved with each step of the research process and recognizing the strengths that they can bring to the research team. The research team will collaborate with members who are affected by the study and systematically inquire in order to provide education to those involved or to take action in order to prompt a social change. The core concepts which surround CBPR is participation from the community, the use of the community's knowledge by the research team, empowering those who are helping with the research, exhibiting critical consciousness to those involved, and utilizing the full capacity of the community. By focusing on each of these core concepts, CBPR aims to engage the community for a common positive outcome for those involved. The core tenets or principles of CBPR will be analyzed and the applicability to this program will be discussed. The principles of CBPR include the use of the community as the unit of identity, research which builds on the strengths and resources within the community, facilitates collaborative, equitable partnership in all phases of the research, promotes co-learning and capacity building among all partners, integrates and achieves balance between research and action for the mutual benefit of all partners, emphasizes an ecological model of health and local relevance of public health problems, involves systems development through cyclical and iterative process, disseminates findings and knowledge gained to all partners, involves all partners in the dissemination process, and involves long-term process commitment. The next few slides will look further into specific examples of these principles. Two of the tenets that the condom use promotion program effectively used were the use of the community as a unit of identity and further building on the strengths and resources of a community. The community in which research or programs are implemented in can greatly impact the success of the research. CBPR recognizes this and aims to utilize this in order to increase the productivity of the research. Communities in this instance spread beyond the geographical boundaries and focus on membership and how individuals view membership into the community. In order to focus on this principle, the program focused on specific demographics that were most affected by the prevalence. To increase the success of research, it can be crucial to utilize the experiences members of a community have prior to implementation of the program. This was done by analyzing the baseline knowledge and characteristics of those who are going to participate and benefit from the program. The principle that stands out as being neglected within the implementation of this program is the emphasis on co-learning and capacity building amongst the partners involved in CBPR. This principle focuses on the importance of sharing the decision-making process across all those involved in research. This principle develops a link of trust which bridges from the research team to the members of the community. In order to build this trust, there needs to be early communication and information sharing. I believe this was neglected in the program because it appeared that the developers had an initial idea that they wanted to implement regardless of the opinions of the community. The community was also not asked for a midpoint evaluation in order to change some of the methods which were being used to promote condom use. In order to further focus on this principle, I would recommend an early interaction between the developers and the community, as well as constant communication to enable the research to thrive. In CBPR, the definition of community may be different from what you traditionally think. When you first think of community, you may think of the entire state of Arkansas and slowly get more specific to Pulaski County, Little Rock, or even as specific as Hillcrest. These are examples of communities which are developed due to geographical boundaries and could be made up of a wide variety of individual beliefs and behaviors. Organizations are their own community as well. These include workplaces, schools, and recreational activities. Typically, these are a more specialized community because they consist of people with more common thoughts. It is possible that a community may follow ethnic or cultural lines. These kinds of communities do not always follow geographical lines and may be a tighter-knit group than those that are regionally based. Communities often will share common ideas, beliefs, or interests which bring them together and place them on a common ground. In closed communities, a small sample might be able to be representative of the entire population. For CBPR, an important characteristic of communities is that the members typically have common core values or norms that they follow. The community that the condom use program followed was specific and predetermined prior to program implementation in order to assure that it was efficacious. The program focused on the highest risk community for transmission of HIV. Geographically, the community was the country of India, which has the highest prevalence of HIV patients. They specifically focused on 6 provinces within the country which have an abnormally high rate of infection. Men presented with the highest incidence of HIV and would most likely benefit from the promotion of condom use, so the program only focused on educating and promoting towards men. They further aimed at men who engaged in high-risk sexual encounters with sex workers. These men were at the highest risk of HIV transmission. The goal was to focus on this community in order to lower the rate. The program addressed that it was normal for members of this community to interact with sex workers without the use of barrier protection. It was the objective of the condom use program to change the norm to increase condom use so that if the men were not willing to change their lifestyle, they would at least be using some form of protection to lower the incidence rate of HIV. Thank you. Feel free to leave any comments or questions you have about community-based participatory research and the Condom Promotion Program.